here, girl. Good girl. Hi, sweetie. Hi, you little non-judgmental human, non-human thing with so much love in your heart and kindness. You're going to teach us today. Well, we're going to do this together, yeah? Can you stop getting in my mouth, please? We're going to do this together. We're going to teach people how to not be judged so much by other people. All right, family, thank you for joining me on another video. Today, we're going to talk about how to not let other people judge us so much, okay? But the first thing I'm going to do is actually look up the word judgment for you. That way we can be on the same level of understanding. Now, I had somewhat of a revelation this morning. I looked up a word, and in the definition of the word were things that I would have never guessed would be there. And all along, I've noticed that I've been using this word incorrectly. Right? Now, what I mean by that is, of course, the people I talk to know exactly what I mean when I say that word in their mind, right? Their mind has an understanding of what I say and what I mean by what I'm saying. However, the actual formulated definition that's written down in thousands and thousands of books holds a lot more density than me just speaking the word and thinking I know what it means. Okay? So we're going to look up the word judgment so we can all be on the same page. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, today is it's June 1st, actually. Welcome to June, everybody. And you can look up that video on my Instagram page. I always leave my handles here in my video somewhere. I think they're normally on this side. But you can always look that up, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about with the word that I looked up in particular. So Merriam-Webster, we're going to go to the one that everyone's going to see first. Merriam-Webster says judgment is the process of forming an opinion or evaluation by discerning and comparing. Damn. An opinion or estimate so formed. The capacity for judging. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So let's stick with 1A. The process of forming an opinion or evaluation by discerning and comparing. Okay, so this is very easy now that we know what the definition of judgment is. This makes it a lot easier for us to break down these steps, but I wrote them down anyway, so I'm going to look over here. So the first step is awareness, okay? Awareness of judgment. We just did that step together. Okay, being aware of what judgment is, what it means, and how it works. And I'm going to remind you again and myself that judgment is a process of forming an opinion or an evaluation by discerning and comparing. Okay, so first step, awareness. We know what judgment is. Fantastic. Now let's assess. Are we making a judgment or an observation? Okay, we have to assess between the two things. They're two totally polar opposites of the same totem. They're just opposite sides of it. So if one were to judge a person, that means that they're forming an opinion, right? Or an evaluation of a person. And we're only sticking with people. We can talk about situations another time because that's a way more broad topic than just people. So we are forming a judgment, meaning we have now formulated an opinion inside of our minds and our hearts, what we believe to be true about this person. Okay. Now an observation is much different. Why? Because you don't attach an opinion or an evaluation to an observation. And this is why meditation is so important, because when you meditate, that's what you do, is you observe without judgment. So to know the difference between I'm judging this person or I'm just observing and this is what happened is a key for you, because watch how this unfolds. Now, once you're able to assess, am I judging or observing? And be brutally honest. The more honest you are, the better it's going to be for you in not allowing other people to judge you. Okay? But the more that you do it, again, the better you're going to be. But we have to, once we've determined if it's a judgment or an observation, is a release. Okay? This is a release of the ego, the lower self-ego. Think about it. Think deep about it for a second with me. If I'm formulating a discerned, which normally we do not discern our our opinions on things. We don't have discernment when we do that. If there is a piece of that judgment going into someone else, right? You see someone walking on the street, you judge them, okay? And it could be a good or bad judgment, doesn't matter. You just judge them, okay? You make an observation, you formulate an opinion, right? And then you say, that's who I believe this person to be based off of my judgment and my opinion, right? So you see a person, but what is speaking to you. A lot of people get confused with your intuition versus your habitual patterns, right? There's a huge difference. Your girl down here having fun, but there's a difference between your intuition and your brain pattern, okay? Your brain pattern has been a pattern of what you normally tell yourself and the story that you've been telling yourself over and over and over for years. Okay, that's the brain pattern, right? But intuition is something that we obviously know is a pattern interrupt, right? Because think about it. Let's say we make a judgment on somebody, right? We judge that person from the lower self, from the ego, okay? From the brain pattern self. We judge that person. And then 3 minutes later, if that, you end up in a convo with this person. And then something else out of you, which is the intuition I'm talking about here, completely alters your perspective of that person and your original judgment, right? From the brain pattern. So that is what I call a pattern interrupt. That's what's called a pattern interrupt. If you look up NLP, hypnosis, any form of communicating, there are pattern interrupts everywhere. And when you have that intuition being brought out of you, because sometimes it doesn't happen right away because your brain takes over. Our brain loves patterns. Our brain loves consistency. Our brain loves to be comfortable in the things that it constantly thinks about. So when that intuition pops up, it's very clear. But if no one ever tells you, right, or if you don't really sit down and assess how you feel, which is why I always preach about emotional control, baby. It's very important for these reasons. You'll never know what your real intuition is versus your judgment or your brain pattern side, okay? So a release of the ego, release of the brain pattern side. That takes practice, and I can go into that for you if you're interested. Now, number 4 is to recognize the difference, which we just did, okay? So I tied 3 and 4 together. We can recognize now the difference. Now is it starting to become more clear, the difference between a judgment and an observation, as well as a brain pattern and your intuition. You see how we're stopping all judgment coming from you, right? Now, number 5 is to repeat that over and over and over. Like I said, it takes practice. Practice makes perfect. And that statement I never believed, ever. I hated it. I didn't want it to be true. And the more you resist shit, the more it comes to bite you in the ass and tell you that it is law and it is true. So let's recap, okay? The first level is awareness. Be aware of what you're doing in terms of judgment, okay? We can bring this is a step-by-step for anything you want to do. You just fill in the space, right? And I'll show you that right now, okay? I'll even type it on the screen if I'm editing this and I see that, and if I feel like doing it, I'll type it for you. But awareness, okay? So awareness of what judgment is, or if there's a different word in your brain, some other word that you feel like you don't quite understand, but you use it often, say what that is out loud, look it up, and do this same process with it. So awareness of it, right? And then an assessment, okay? An assessment of it, right? We assessed, is it a judgment or is it an observation, right? Now a release of the ego, right? The brain pattern and the intuition, 2 different things. Recognizing the difference, that's all the same, okay? And then repeating it over and over. So here's the secret sauce for you. This process right here, look, it doesn't necessarily stop people from judging you, right? But what it does is help you to release your judgment for other people, right? And in turn, you'll stop judging yourself so much. And in turn, what you think becomes your reality. Therefore, other people will stop judging you as much, right? Or even better, they'll stop making the wrong the wrong opinions and judgments of you. They'll stop doing that Their brain is going to figure it out. Their brain will feel your energy, right? We're not just solid pieces of matter. We're not just solid pieces of matter that just exist and float around, right? We have energy and we exchange that energy all the time. So this is how you get people to stop judging you so much. You have to be aware, first of all, okay, of what you're doing. And then once you cease that activity, or at least slow it down, the difference only can happen. Only can happen. I said it that way on purpose. It only can happen. The transformation, the morphing of other people not judging you so much is the only result that can come from this. Okay? Because you'll stop judging yourself, which in turn will reflect your reality, and then less judgment comes to you. Now, I'm going to let you go now because I feel like we've covered that topic quite well. Keep an eye out because I have a couple other videos that are tied into this. And if you like what you see, subscribe to the videos. If you like it as well, like it for me because that helps my algorithm. Share it with your friends and family who need to hear this. That one or two people that you know judge people way too damn much. Every fucking word out of their mouth is a judgment to somebody. Send it to them because they need to hear this. We're going through a great awakening at this point in time. And this great awakening requires all of our participation. Okay? What I'm doing right now is not by accident. Okay? Neither you watching is by accident. This is fully on purpose. It's an act of the universe and our source power at work for our better. So pay attention, take heed, and take action. I'll see you on the next video.